wisdom and vision. Locked out of heaven's division. Earthborn in Mary man's prison. Born to sin with a face big gin. Bottle of gin in possession. Takes a lick and keeps on ticking. He is a man on a mission.
Hey Google, stop. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. Hey Google, set your volume to 50%. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. A little under the weather. I'm doing better, though. In case y'all haven't tuned in before, I lost my sight a few years ago. So Google's how I'm taking notes and stuff. Writing songs, along with the Ziggy, a.k.a. the A word. And whatnot, but getting by, you know what I mean? And that's what this podcast is about. How did you make it from A to B? And most people don't look back and don't realize, and if you do, realize patterns and stuff, you can, it might make things easier for you. But we got a bunch here to talk about today. And like I said, I was born disabled. And got the whole blindness thing a few years ago. But if y'all want to check out previous episodes, we even have celebrity cameos. And we just talk about everything on here. Paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, metaphysical, and then just normal, just every day. I don't want to say normal, because the paranormal is actually normal, and what we believe or what we're living is not really reality. So that's kind of deep right there. But yeah, sports, movies, entertainment, food, animals, whatever, family, stories, catfish, if stuff's happened to you or you've done other things, come on and get it out. We have guests, audio or video. And the social media is Harold Sullivan 78 at YouTube and TikTok, both of those. And then Harold Sullivan period 35 Facebook. And then 724-513-1472. You can call the show. And then you can email hs19782015 at outlook.com. We're going to talk about some happy and some sad. It's all about how you look at it, though, you know what I mean? Because when one person's sad, another person's happy, and vice versa. And I started doing a lot of reflecting after I lost my sight, and a lot of things changed as far as I thought they were one way, but I felt different about them. But let's do some. How about some comedy first? Black Comedy in America is on now. There's I'm not sure how many episodes, but I'm up to the current one. I think it's on Vice or one of them channels. They've been doing some good documentaries, starting all the way back with like Dark Side of the Ring and stuff. I think it's that. But they have so many. But anyway, yeah, the first few episodes were about like, let's see here, you had Richard Pryor and you had sitcoms. I believe it was 70s sitcoms. Eddie Murphy in the 80s. And then you had the history where black comedy started, quote unquote. The Chitlin Circuit, Mom's Mabel. I'm a historian about all this stuff too, so I love comedy. And I want to say this, okay? There's different kinds of comedy. As far as, and I only use these words in context of telling one from another. I don't like black, white, red. I don't like none of those colors. I don't see color, never did. But I think I find black comedians funnier than white comedian, quote unquote. Because white people, in general in life, to me, I find white people are more fake. And black people can just be themselves. They've been through a lot. And if it's funny, it's funny. But they don't have to pretend, or they don't have to be funny. They have a lightness which is awesome because of how much they've been through their whole life. But everybody's been through stuff, whatever color you are. But, as far as the comedy, the white guy would be the one to come up and throw the pie in the black guy's face. But the black guy would be telling the jokes that were funny to begin with. So I find that more funnier than someone throwing a pie. But that's the difference. But anyway, I check out Black Comedy in America. Great show. Also, uh, a couple documentaries I've been waiting on are finally out now. Accidental Truth, and I think it's on Tubi, maybe one. It's on a bunch of those channels right now, and it's about aliens, government cover up, and I'm actually asking people that are deep in this stuff, and them coming out basically and saying stuff. And here's a few things. Spoilers. Uh, in Star Trek Six, they mentioned a clear aluminum, and they say that actually exists now. They actually do have that. They actually do have what else? Metal that you can fold up and it goes back to its shape, just like in Roswell, where we all know where all the stuff came from, the crashed ship. Backwards engineering. There also was more than one crashed ship. They talk about so many different crashed ships, forced landings. Now they said there's meta materials now, which are new things that they've developed, which means they can make things go invisible. They can make anti-gravity. This is what the government can do now with all these things. This is crazy. Check out this. It's called Accidental Truth. Okay. Uh, and then another one is there's several episodes. It's called Escape the Matrix. I'm trying to find a book which has the same title, but I think it's actually a different author. But I checked out the first two episodes, and this is some really deep stuff. And this guy basically says that we are all our own imagination. And think about that. That's deep. We're living our own imagination. We're not real. None of this is real. And it makes sense to me. It's just very deep. We all got to get into it, though. If you really want to know what your life is about, if you're alive or you're not, because we're not really, this is like a simulation. It's just like the Matrix. That's why when the movies came out, and there was also a book, the Matrix was based off a book called Neuromancer or something like that, which I checked out a few years ago, the audio version. But very good. But when that book, or when the movies that Matrix came out, people went crazy because they realized that we're kind of in a simulation. Think about it. The computers and the internet is in one form, and it only turns into videos and all that other stuff when it's on the computer. Just like all the information, the bits we take in, go into our brain and come out in our senses. Uh, so it's very deep. It's hard to say where I'm going with that. But check that out too. And then Superman, which was going to be Superman Legacy. There's some trailers out now. James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and he did the second Suicide Squad, which I did not like. Didn't even finish. But I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I don't know how he's going to do this. He's trying to do more of a Richard Donner from the 80s. And as far as I can tell from the descriptions of the costumes and everything, it sounds great. He's going with more of an old school with the yellow around the ass, and he's putting the underwear back on the outside, and bringing in all kinds of characters though in here. I mean, you got Metamorpho, and you got Mister, not Mister not Mister Marvelous, Mister Something, and then you have the Green Lantern and Hawkwoman and Supergirl, but then they say they're it's not leading to a Justice League. Well, then why are they going to have all these characters in there? And Superman fighting monsters, and then we got new Lois, a new Superman, a new, and all that. And they sound, you know, like they're doing it. You know what I mean? But they got to play the part. They got to be clumsy and all that. Clark, apparently in the trailers, it shows how he acts because Superman is his senses are heightened, so he has to dumb down to fit in, and he actually acts clumsy and stuff as Clark to have an alternate persona. So it's neat because otherwise, if he touches somebody, he could punch him through a wall. So you think about it, they're adding more reality, and I really like that. Superman's my favorite superhero. He was the first superhero, which he was a bad guy originally. A lot of people don't know. Reign of the Superman. When he was bald, he was going to be a bad guy. They flipped it, made him a good guy, made Lex the bad guy. So, Ziggy, what are my stickies?
I found 14 notes. First note, Accidental Truth Black Comedy Sully Awards Superman Three Stooges.
Ziggy, stop. And then we're going to be talking to Chris here a few days about Three Stooges and the Sully Awards, which was on recently. We had those first ever Sully Awards. Go check out that episode. And then we're going to talk about here some more sad stuff. But I had to get it out. I'm in the process of trying to write a book, and a lot of us have stuff. And my mother was very abusive when I was growing up my whole life. She passed away 7 years ago. God bless her. Uh, and she was very overweight, 400 pounds probably. She was always at least a couple hundred pounds since I can remember. She was never smaller, but before I was born, she was. Anyways, she quit working shortly after I was born. From she used to work in clubs and stuff, doing housekeeping, uh, country clubs, and doing that and all that. And she went to school for nursing, and I don't think she finished. She might have, but anyway, yeah, she was very abusive, and she used to hit me all the time when I was younger, up until I was about 28, 29 when I moved out and I got my place. But before that, it was terrible. And she was always abused by men too. My dad, then she got divorced. Then she was with other men that were drug addicts and alcoholics. My stepdad used to beat her all the time. I'm going to talk about him in the future here. He was a crackhead, literally. And he hit me a few times. Well, he hit me a few times, but after he got turned in, he never did it again. But children's services told me it wasn't abuse because he actually one time took the strip off the old blinds they used to have where you could turn this long uh, plastic thing and close and open blinds, and it would make it was like a whip. So one day he just took and whipped my arm with it and left a bruise. So my dad turned him in when I was a youngster. I wasn't a teenager, but a little bit younger. And then he didn't hit me after that. But uh, my mom, she was always abusive. She stole a lot. She gambled a lot. She was on a lot of medications. I believe some of her bipolar, some of her just multiple personality rages. One minute she'd be okay, then she would be chasing you. I used to live where there was a big hill, and she would chase me up the hill in the power wheelchair and literally drag the power wheelchair back to the house. And how could you do that? I mean, it's got an engine. I'm trying to go. And it would just be always dumb things or just whatever. Sometimes she remembered what she did, sometimes she didn't. If she did, she'd go out and buy me a burger or something and bring it back, some candy, fast food, whatever, something. Which I was like, well, why do you do these things then if you know they're going to hurt or upset me? One time she took me out of my power wheelchair, sat me on a regular chair as punishment, and left the house and left me alone, which was not safe because she made me a bowl of cereal and I did not even want to eat it. And I said I didn't want it. So she said, "You're going to eat this." And since I wouldn't eat it, that's what she did. Took me out of the chairs, power wheelchair, and sat me in a regular chair in the kitchen alone and left. And like I said, when I was younger, somebody set up a college fund. I was really young. In the town I lived in, out of the goodness of their heart, my mom took all the money and gambled it. My dad used to buy me clothes when I was young for school and stuff. And if he didn't take out the receipt or write my name in them, she would take them back to Walmart or wherever, whatever store. Because back a long time ago, you didn't need receipts or anything. They would just take stuff. And she'd get the money. She stole from me before I finally did move out the last time, uh, when the big thing happened. I was having money in the bank, and I couldn't ever really save. I was always afraid to save, because what if somebody took it? And then here, that's what happened. I didn't get my bank statement for a few months, and my mom was the one that used to get the mail for me out of the mailbox. I'm disabled. I can't move my arms and legs barely. And so I didn't get the statements. My dad took me up to the bank at the mall where my bank was, and here they said my money was all gone, but a little bit of change. I had a couple $1,000s in there. I was trying to I was like, I know if I get money, then I can try to do something and get out. But you have to have money and to do anything really. And when you're on disability, and then she used to make me pay her rent and stuff too. Even before that, she got my disability checks till I turned of age. So it was all about money as well with that kind of stuff. But yeah, she took all my money. She was taking checks out of my checkbook when I was gone, or whenever I would go out to eat or go out with my dad, and then use them to gamble at bingo. It was usually bingo, $300, $400 in a night. And I went with her a few times when I was younger. I just didn't really enjoy it. It was very hot and boring to me. And I won $100 one time and I had to give her 25 because we had a deal where if either of us won, one had to give the other 25%. But she didn't win the times I went, of course. But I like the food. They had pizza, chicken tenders, fries, and stuff. They got good food at them old bingo haulers. Or, yeah, bingo halls. I call it a hauler. That's a new word, bingo hauler. But, yeah, so it was all about money. But anyway, I had to press some kind of charges at the bank and get my money to get them back. And I got the money back. And then my mom got put on ADR or ARD because she hadn't gotten in trouble before. So 6 months, her record would be clean if she didn't get in trouble again. Well, she came in on an abusive rage one day, and one of the policemen who I had called before, because this happened all the time, and every time I called the police, they wouldn't do nothing. She would say I was attacking her, and they would literally believe her, and she's pushing me around, and plus she can leave the room. I can't, if she comes at me, she can walk out and close the door. Me, I can't get away from anybody. So, but I had to press the charges on her, and I did, and she actually got, she hit me again, and then the cop said, I'll press charges for you. Well, when it came time for the hearing, it got tossed out because I didn't know to be there because nobody let me know. And then she didn't give me the paper if it came in the mail. And she went by herself. So she didn't even get in trouble for that or the 6 month ADR or whatever, which she would have broke. So, and then she said I tried to stab her with a knife, which wasn't true. I actually was sleeping with a knife because I felt in danger. She had people, crackheads and different people coming in and out all the time. Someone broke my drawer open. I even had a padlock on like a little dresser and table or drawer, and they broke it and stole my stuff out of it, my medication. One time, I had to buy a camera to have my own bedroom to live here years ago, before my mom passed. It was sad. This is just little bits and stuff. Like I said, she used to give me a bloody nose and said my teeth got in the way because I got buck teeth. Uh, or I had them, but they don't really stick out as much anymore. I learned how to fix my overbite a little. So it's terrible. And I only weigh 70 pounds, not even that. She used to hurt me on purpose, and there's no reason. Nobody should ever do that. We're here to love, unconditional, you know. And I'm getting emotional, but you know what? I've lived through all this. I turned it around at the end. She ended up bedridden, my mom, and she needed people to take care of her. So I forgave her, felt sorry. I didn't forget, but we must forgive. Forgive for you. Okay. So we'll be back shortly, and I love y'all. And I appreciate y'all. We're up over 200 episodes here, 170 something. Let's get to 200 subscribers on YouTube. It's very hard because a lot of people watch stuff on YouTube and listen to it, but they just don't hit the subscribe. Hit the subscribe so I know that people are watching and listening. Okay, one man is every man, and you can make a difference.